Their names aren't fitting the screen properly. Now there we go. That's still.
This is a little off, I know.
Oh, all right.
It's better behind you.
Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is David McFadden. It is 7:00. This is the November 16th regular meeting. I'd like to call it to order. Let's rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor McFadden.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Shaw. Present. Trustee Brooke.
Absent.
Trustee Casker.
Present.
Trustee Shara.
Present via Zoom.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so before we go into our guest presentation, I'm just going to read the Lakes report because I found it to be significant. Hi, Jim. This is from NEAR. We visited Tuxedo Lake on October 27th to conduct the routine monthly water quality sampling. At Station 1, the deep spot water clarity was good with 4.1 meters. That's 13.5 foot of visibility. That's fantastic. This was better than last year's October clarity at the deep spot of 2.9 or 9.5 feet. The surface temperature was 58.3 degrees Fahrenheit. Oxygen conditions were poor at the bottom of the lake, with no oxygen starting at 10 meters, 32.8 feet, and going to the bottom at 62.3 feet at the deep spot. This indicates a significant portion of the lake was anoxic. We did not see any algae bloom while we were there. We also conducted full lake aquatic plant surveys of Weewa Pond 3 and Tuxedo in September. I'm happy to report that we did not find any Eurasian milfoil in any of the three water bodies. I just wanted to put that into the record. Thank you for everyone that was involved in that project. All right, so Josh, do you want to introduce your presentation?
Sure. Can I just ask, is Jeff Domansky from Jewel with you?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
So we'll table that until later, till he arrives.
Yeah. Wait.
Josh, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but Glenn is here virtually from Jewel.
Yep.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Are you planning on presenting, or was Jeff going to present in person?
I can certainly. I'm here to
Okay.
to do it. Yep.
Great.
Just briefly, Glenn Weinberg is with Jewel, which is a firm that is an administrator for community choice aggregation projects throughout New York. I think they represent just over 50 municipalities. The town recently retained Jewel as an administrator. Jeff Domansky, Glenn's partner, has actually presented at this forum previously. But Mayor, as you know, my recommendation is that we consider retaining Jewel so that we're working in parallel with the town on this important initiative. So we thought it made sense to bring Jewel representative back to give a 10-minute brief presentation on what community choice aggregation is and the benefits of the initiative and program and the benefits of working with the town. And so with that, I'll be quiet, and Glenn, hand it over to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Josh, and thank you to the rest of the board.
Welcome.
For inviting us in tonight. Yeah, so I won't repeat too much of what Josh said, but we are just starting to work with the town of Tuxedo, and so we thought it was a good idea to speak with the village again to catch you up on that progress and give you an opportunity to join in should you choose to. And just as a reminder for everybody, I know you've heard it at least once before from Jeff, but it's always helpful, I find, to sort of just go through the basics again of what community choice aggregation is. It's a mouthful and a kind of clumsy acronym. So it's useful just to sort of redefine it for everybody. Community choice aggregation, or CCA, and you'll hear me use that acronym, is a state-enabled policy. It's enabled through Public Service Commission order that allows, it's a municipal home rule authority. So it allows cities, towns, and villages throughout New York State to take control of their energy decision-making by selecting default energy sources or suppliers on behalf of their residents and small businesses. So today, of course, the default, if you move into town and set up your electricity, your default will be Orange and Rockland Utilities. This gives that decision, passes the decision down from the state level or the utility level to the local level. Now, why do municipalities choose to do that? They do it primarily for three reasons. First is to stabilize energy costs and give opportunities for energy savings through collective purchasing. So just as you know, with any sort of market, or you can think of sort of Costco or something like that, when you have a bulk purchasing power behind you and you buy in volume, you have the opportunity to get a discount. And that's really what CCA does. It aggregates the total pool of demand from the residential and small business customers within a municipality or group of municipalities and brings them out to market together in an effort to get the best possible deal from the energy supply market. So whereas the utility is fairly strictly regulated in the way that they can buy and the way that they can offer retail electricity supply to individual customers, CCA gives the municipality to act as basically one large customer in a marketplace, and therefore there's all sorts of benefits to that. The first of which is cost. The second of which is access to renewable energy markets that individual customers don't have through their utility supply. And that's really what we've been specializing in New York as an administrator. As Josh mentioned, we represent more than 50 municipalities throughout New York State, the vast majority of which have used the CCA tool to access clean electricity supply, in many cases 100% New York State renewable electricity supply at a fixed rate for long periods of time, you know, usually 2 or 3 years per contract. There are several options. That's not the only option, but that's kind of been the kind of conventional product in New York. And the third is to increase consumer protection. So CCA provides a layer of protection, both contractual and through state oversight and expert consulting like Jewel around that energy purchasing and the management of those contracts to make sure that customers are serviced properly and have access to all the benefits that energy markets provide in a way that has not previously been available to the average small customer, like a residential or small business customer. So that's the primary program and benefit. Now I'll say a little bit about our approach. We have, as I mentioned before, taken this tool and used it in order to offer clean electricity supply, but also to innovate and connect with community solar projects in the area to offer community solar subscriptions, which provide guaranteed savings to subscribers. And by sort of channeling through the CCA, there's additional benefits that you can realize through collective purchasing, just the same as it is with the basic electricity supply. We are working extensively throughout New York State, but also specifically in Orange and Rockland territory. We just, I believe we represent 14 municipalities in Orange and Rockland territory. We just closed on a contract for 8 of those, including the town of Clarkstown, the town of Orangetown, and several villages throughout Rockland and Orange, including the town of Highland and the village of Highlands Falls. And they are starting they just closed on that contract. They'll be starting that contract in April. And that's an 18-month contract for the most part, for 100% renewable electricity supply, which is really critical. Rockland territory, Orange and Rockland, basic supply is over 90% fossil fuel. So it is really critical to take that step locally, and CCA enables the municipality, the village, to do so. This is an opt-out program, meaning it does become the default for all eligible residential and small commercial customers, but they can freely opt out should they choose not to participate. They can do so at any time with no penalty or fee whatsoever. And there's no cost or obligation to the village. We do all of the work, which includes extensive public outreach and education and communication throughout the village prior to any decision being made on the village's part. And all we do with that, we do so speculatively. So we only get paid if there is a contract in place with the supplier at the end of that process. And if there is a contract awarded and signed by the village at the end of that process, we get paid by the supplier. So there's an administrative fee that the supplier pays us. It does not come from the village, and it does not come directly from the customers on their bills. It is paid by the supplier. As Josh mentioned, there are economies of scale, so to speak, by working with the town. So should you choose to move forward and join a bid with the town, there is an additional volume discount that you'll receive, that you'll have access to by working in conjunction with the town, as well as any other municipality in Orange and Rockland territory that is on the same timetable, and therefore in the same bid. So there's obviously plenty more I can say, but I want to keep it brief and leave time for questions. So I can stop there, and maybe if there's particular points that you want to dig into, I'm happy to do so.
Okay, thanks.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Glenn, the village itself would be a participant in the CCA if it wanted to be?
For your own meters, you mean? Like for
Yeah.
village hall?
Yeah.
Yes, you could. So any meter in the village is eligible to participate. Those meters that the village controls that are small, what are called non-demand. So that might be, for instance, it could be Village Hall, but it could be any other small load would automatically be included on an opt-out basis, just like the average home or small business. Larger meters, like larger facilities, the DPW garage, those sorts of things, would not automatically be included, but certainly could take advantage of the rate should they choose to as well.
And I think you know this, I'm a NextAmp customer. What that means is 2 or 3, maybe 4 years ago, I bought a share, or I reserved a share of a local solar farm, which gives me, so I know that I'm getting solar energy. As you know, electrons don't really care how they were generated or where they go, but I added solar to the grid. That gives me a discount on my Orange and Rockland bill. I'm being subsidized by the state for having committed to the project. Would I have to give that up, or would I have to opt out basically of the CCA, or would I have to give up that NextAmp commitment?
No, it's the great thing about these sort of two programs. And you can think of it really as two. We think of it really as two components of one umbrella program, which is clean energy electricity supply and community solar. Now, you may say, well, don't they sort of cancel each other out? Aren't they the same thing? And the answer is, in New York State, no. So when you sign up for community solar, that community solar farm is not actually, just as Josh said, is not actually supplying you your energy. You are getting a benefit from it, a financial benefit, and usually a 10% guaranteed financial benefit off your utility bill. But you are not actually, your signing up for community solar farm does not actually green your electricity supply. It does, of course, mean that there are some clean electrons injected into your local grid with your name on it. But it does not replace your electricity supplier. So if Orange and Rockland is still your electricity supplier, believe it or not, Orange and Rockland is still buying every month for you based on how much you use, and they are buying 90+% fossil fuel for you based on what you use. So it is actually a double benefit to be able to green your electricity supply and stabilize your cost. And if you've been looking at your Orange and Rockland bills lately, you know that stabilizing cost is something that is going to be top of mind for a lot of consumers, not just in the village of Tuxedo Park, but all over. And you get additional environmental benefit for having renewable supply in over and above those clean electrons that are injected into the grid on your behalf. So you can take advantage of both. Both have a financial benefit, and both have an incremental environmental benefit, an additive environmental benefit.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Josh and Glenn, I've moved the agreements and other things that you submitted into the record. I didn't get a chance to put it on the agenda, but it's going to be in the agenda under new business. It'll be 11D.
Great.
So if anybody wants to ask questions about that during comment section, that's where the information is, and it is also posted online. All right. Thank you very much, Glenn.
Thank you.
All right. So let's go with reports. Chief?
So we had 281 calls for service, one criminal case, 2 accidents, just property damage accidents, 8 traffic tickets issued, 18 warning tickets issued. We responded to 6 fires and/or automatic alarms, 1 burglar alarm. We assisted the town of Tuxedo Police Department 1 time. We were assisted 1 time. And patrol miles, we patrolled 2,789 miles, and approximately 747 vehicles come through the gates on a daily basis. It's low. It's starting to lower down now that the summer's over.
Any irregularities with the automatic gate system?
Yeah, we had a few issues. We had to have Rockland Security come out to adjust the camera. Just minor bugs that
It wasn't opening quickly enough?
it wasn't opening, it wasn't reading plates. The camera, the way it was housed, it was if a heavy truck went by, the vibration, it would move the camera. So that vendor came out right away when I called him, and he's really good. He responds right away, and he tightened it down so that we don't have that issue anymore.
All right,
Other
hopefully.
than that, everything else.
Well, this is a good reason why everyone should keep their tags.
Yeah.
Because during those times when it breaks down, we can still use it manually by looking at your tag. Okay, thank you. One thing I noticed that on the screen, we are cut off. I'm wondering if that will come through on the actual recording. That did happen to us once.
I can't tell. The screen behind you was clear, but
Good online.
Oh, it looks good on.
I'll just
Okay.
get online.
Probably a Zoom on the TV itself.
Yeah, I think that's zoomed in.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I didn't notice that. Thank you very much. Okay, Jeff.
Lately, we've been picking up leaves. We just started about a week ago. We installed a new catch basin on Serpentine Road. We ran a new electric line for the new air conditioning and heating unit at the police station. Started painting fire hydrants. Did some work down at the racetracks, building some benches and cutting down some dead trees. We spent a couple days down there. We did some work over at the dam, removing the shaft for the valve at the Weewaa Dam that has some issues that the engineers are working on. Serviced all the salt spreaders and got them mounted in the trucks. We've been working on the plows to get everything ready. Did some work with Nelson Tree Service on a few tree removals. That's the bulk of it. John's continuing to install meters on irrigation system. Did various water and sewer markouts for Dig Safe New York. Obtained weekly water meter readings on village accounts and meter readings that we report. Replaced a few electrical outlets at the sewer plant. Cleared a sewer blockage on 116 Tower Hill Road. And made sure all the heaters and stuff in the pump house buildings and things were up to snuff. That's it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Thank you very much. Did a great job too. Place is looking good. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. Who else do we have that would like to give a live report?
John?
Sure.
We had no C of O requests since the last Board of Trustees meeting. We have one violation issue regarding some hazardous trees. The neighbor hasn't responded. I'll be sending him a certified letter this week. The Pays project, the Rifkin project are proceeding pretty well at this point. Mr. DeHadu had a large project that he had received approval for a few months ago. He has decided to put that on hold till the spring. And the Klein renovation at 130 Continental Road is going fairly well, doing a bunch of interior work at this point. The project status, Tuxedo Club, with the bar approved the landscaping and the new light pillars within the parking area on November 13th. The Perna project that was approved by the planning board on October 12th and the BAR on October 20th. The Nicholson project, they finished these stone walls behind the pool area and they're discussing changing the pool fence and gate style at this point. Delaware on Summit Road has been pursuing an alternative driveway connection, and I've been corresponding back with her and her attorney and offered them guidance to complete their site plan table, which is not complete at this point. Regarding the Communications Committee update, the Communications Committee had an online conference with Ed Lundgreen with Crown Castle about the viability of installing a cell tower on Pawtucket Road. The area is out of view of most homes in the village, and it's elevated to hopefully a strong cell signal. Walter Cooper, the consultant for the committee, has reviewed mapping provided by Crown Castle and is waiting for answers to questions that he raised. As Jeff mentioned, they've started to paint a number of the hydrants. Regarding the DPW lease agreement with the company that's working for ONR, we got a payment for $5,400, which covers their rental through November. I think they expect to be finished by December or January, so we'll get 2 more payments in the amount of, I think, $1,200 each. So that's progress. We had a little lackluster report. We auctioned off 17 items that were kicking around the DPW for way too long. 9 of the 17 items were bid on. Total bids were $264.50. I authorized the auction company to accept the bids that were presented to us. And with the board's permission, the rest of the items we'd like to discard in the dumpster. They're old generators, old weed whackers. If you want, I'll show you the list.
That's okay.
We tried our best. It's old stuff.
You're welcome to throw it away.
It's done. Thank you very much.
Trust you.
Sure.
Good. What else? The Weewa Beach and Park has been closed up for this season. The water has been turned off, bathroom fixtures winterized, and the bathroom doors have been locked. We also removed the flags from the flagpole. The projects at the police department are going fairly well. The air conditioning and heating has been installed and seems to be working fairly well at this point. And the reshingling of the roof is underway and hopefully should be finished in another week, depending upon the weather. The last item of the Climate Smart Communities participated in the November 7th meeting and facilitated the adoption of the recycling program at all the VTP buildings. All of our buildings have recycling containers, and in my travels, they all seem to be being used, so which is good. And I've been providing Jim Hayes some additional information on DPW vehicles and on the municipal buildings for his reporting purposes.
That's it.
That's it.
Great. Good job. Thank you very much. That's quite a bit.
Thank you.
I just want to add that you mentioned that the Weewa Park and Beach Club is closed.
Oh, sorry.
It's actually open,
Mhm.
although those facilities are closed.
Yes.
But the gate remains open and people are welcome to use it year round. What do we have on do we have a ice fishing rule for that?
Yeah, last year it's in the code and
Mhm.
last year you allowed it after Jeff checks it, right? They check the depth of it and then it's permitted to Weewa Fishing Club members.
Okay, great, thanks. Does anyone have any questions about the minutes?
No. Nope.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to open it for public comments. 2 minutes per person on agenda items, please. I'll start in the room. Anyone have any comments or questions? Yes, Jim.
Yeah, I just, I don't need 2 minutes. I just wanted to, in terms of CCA, which you received a very clear presentation of what that is. I just like to say that because of the inventory that we've done, if you went with CCA, that would be an immediate savings of 16% of our greenhouse gas emissions. Now, 16% may not seem like a lot, but when you think of all the little things that need to be done to be added up, this is big. It would be very big. It's very important to do that, if provided the source is green.
And it also represents quite a bit of work that you and the committee have done. Is that correct? Also in conjunction with the town?
Yes.
So I want everyone to understand that this has a lot of effort behind it. And thank you very much for that. Okay, anyone in the on Zoom call would like to make a comment? Give us a shout.
Hi, I just wanted to add to that about the CCA that the town started its outreach
Okay, so
program.
this is Michelle, everyone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Michelle
Michelle
Lindsay.
Lindsay
Yep.
From 2 Eagle Mountain Road.
Thank
And I work with Jim on the Climate Smart Committee and Josh and the town board. So we started that process. We officially kicked it off November 1 and had a presentation Monday night. So we're starting the education outreach.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, we appreciate all the work the town has done too. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, it's closed. Let's move to the consent agenda. Written reports, obviously, minutes. Fick Nature Association does an annual bird count in the park, and they're applying for that to be renewed again. Anyone have any questions about that? Hiring of a part-time police officer, Lakin Esposito. We swore him in earlier today, so I'm assuming we're going to approve. Also, Tinka and John did a lot of work trying to locate, and also Brian, thank you, Brian, to locate a attorney for collection of town accounts and
Water and sewer.
of water and sewer. And right now I've listed the arrears we have in the town. It's on the website. And the company that they recommended is also listed. Let's see. What's the name of the company?
Collection Bureau Hudson Valley.
Collection Bureau Hudson Valley. They have a good rate structure and they seem very professional and competent. So we'd like to get them going. What's the total arrears in the town of water? 100-something thousand?
Total outstanding 128,
128.
and we have 84,000, which is over 6 months.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully we can start knocking some of these down.
That's plus 84. Was the 84 part of the 128?
It's like 0 to 6 months is 43 and change. 6 months and over is 84. If you add them up, you get 128. Yeah, so the total balance is 128.
Including the 84.
Yeah, thank you. I believe that's it, right?
Yep.
All right, any questions before we queue it up? Resolve that the Board of Trustees approve the consent agenda items A through E.
Second it?
Yes,
Or second it?
second.
No, A through E.
Oh, consent.
Um,
I see.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Joshua voted aye.
Mayor, did we determine, can I vote?
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Oh, we announced where he would be.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Did you do the local law for?
I'm not sure. We may have. I think
Yeah.
we did.
You
We
did the
did.
local law.
Yeah, I
and
think we did the local
The
law.
address was published
Yeah,
Only on the agenda.
I added it myself
on the agenda.
on the agenda, which was published on Friday.
I mean, look, fact of the matter won't matter unless there's,
Right, but he can't.
no, I think if you announced it and it was out there and he's obviously out of town, yes, you
Yeah.
could.
I actually have a surprise. Someone's going to be going to his hotel, the Wynn, in about 20 minutes and knocking on the door. It'll be really fun. We'll all be watching. All right, so
So Joshua did vote. I'm sorry to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Josh is a yes.
And Josh, avoid the Palisades when you come back.
He's in Vegas.
I know you're in Vegas. But when you come back, LaGuardia to the office today was 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh, that's awful. That's awful. It's getting really bad.
Palisades was stopped.
Oh. All right, so let's move to old business, the Sterling garbage contract. It's on a month-to-month now, everybody. And the question is, do we want to analyze it and do we want to go out to bid? My recommendation is that without too much effort, we go out to bid. The problem is it's the same people always that do it. But like we saved $20,000 on our insurance annually and got a better carrier, Travelers, I think it's worth at least looking into. And so if that's okay, I'll move forward with getting that organized. How does everyone feel about that? All right, let's go out to bid on the garbage contract. Can I have a second? Yes, sir.
How do we publish the bid or the proposal?
I'll look into it and let you know, but there's several places we have to advertise it, including our own website. And are there any government sites we have to put it on?
None that are required. We posted on the publication of record, the Times Herald Record,
Mhm.
and we obviously posted on our own website.
Right.
And if we feel there's any other companies that we should notify about it, we can
Yeah,
notify
it'll
them
be a formal
directly.
bid.
I'd recommend you use the New York State Contract Reporter.
What is it?
New York State Contract Reporter.
What is it?
It's a bid website. I get proposals every day that I look for my company. So
What type of stuff? Because maybe since we have the same business, I should do that too.
everything. I mean, they're looking for snow removal. They're looking for upgrading parking lots. It's every contract that state agencies are using in municipalities.
Mhm. Okay,
Good.
thank you very much. So we have a second. All in favor of me putting this project, the momentum to get it up to bid?
Aye.
Second, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was her. She'll second everything, Paul, if you want.
Yeah.
I
Aye.
just didn't hear it. and I just want to make sure the vote was done.
You
Sorry.
did second it. It's on the record. It's
It
your
is.
lunch.
That's okay.
All right, so, okay, good. Let's move on to new business. We are looking at an analysis of our filming in Tuxedo Park code. And we brought it up last meeting. And I was able to locate something that I liked because it deals with certain specific issues. I sent that to the trustees, that law from California, and I sent it to Brian. And before the meeting started, Brian sent us something. I didn't have a chance to read that. Do you want to summarize that, Brian, for the board?
I said it's a comprehensive draft law, the one that's from Hidden Hills, but it's by Los Angeles, California, so it's kind of, a lot of material because they probably presumably deal with filming on a regular basis. So there's just some provisions in there. You've got to decide right now. That draft has a public hearing every time a permit's requested, notifications by mail and posting and 1,000 feet of the location. So the framework is good. It's just a question of what do you feel is appropriate for the village in terms of, approving that permit or what conditions you want in there. So we could take that ordinance as a framework and, tailor it to the village. It's just a board
Right.
decision on whether you want public hearings and notices or you want to scale it down a little
Right,
bit.
so obviously, we're not going to make that decision now. So,
No, we need to have a draft, I
Yeah.
think, for the village to put out, because this is, state of California, not to say it doesn't apply, but we have to change some of the language. And
Right.
then we could put it into a format for the village, and then you can decide, if you want to
Mhm.
remove that public hearing
we can have
requirement.
discussions in between, but yeah, let's.
Yeah, you
move
could always
forward with
open the public hearing and then decide, if you make
that.
changes.
So
or-
they have a public hearing every time there's a,
That draft has a public
An
hearing
app.
for every permit, and then they have a posting and a mailing for anybody within
Mhm.
1,000 feet and, some
Mhm.
other requirements. So,
Yeah, it does appear burdensome.
well, because I think it's designed, they're
Is it
close to
LA?
LA, so they
Everybody's
probably.
doing it.
but at the same time, it does allow it.
Right,
Yeah.
I think what
Mhm.
we should do is, I don't know if we circulate that or a modification of that for comment before we start drafting into the legislation, because we gotta cut out a lot of the stuff and.
Yeah, we can draft it into a village format, make it applicable to the village of Tuxedo Park, leave in
Mhm.
basically the concepts, and then you guys could have a
Yes,
discussion
I think it's good
initially.
for us to have something in front of us.
Yeah, and then you could say,
Yeah.
strike this, strike that,
Right,
and
we
we
can
could
then,
put
yes,
it in final
exactly.
form and set
That'd
the
be
public
great.
hearing.
Thank you very much. Okay, then we have folks, Sally had offered to repair a stone wall. If we couldn't do it, it's a village-owned wall, and therefore we would reimburse her. I don't think we need to do that. I think we can do that in-house, even if it means bringing on a stonemason in the spring on a temporary basis.
I'm not sure what wall it is. but
Okay, so
I
it's
mean,
basically across the street from her boathouse.
okay.
And the general rule of thumb that we use is a cut and fill rule to determine ownership.
Mhm.
How does that wall become a village wall?
Because of the cut and fill analysis that we use. Now, you may not like that analysis, but if the road couldn't have been put in by the village unless a retaining wall was there because of the cut, then it's village owned. If it's not because of the cut and fill, like say the one in front of Cacioppo, or there was the debate over the Cindy's wall, and we settled that, and with a compromise, we also settled one. There's precedent for another one that we settled right down past
It's the Groot Ridge.
That wall,
Gruderich. That was a compromise we also did. That was under Stebbins.
Yeah.
So there's some precedent. But the main point for tonight's discussion is, I think we should bring it in-house whenever we do it, not hire someone from the outside and then pay someone to do, for that. We can handle it ourselves if we hire somebody that has that expertise, unless we have someone on staff now.
I think it's probably appropriate we hire somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can probably get a better price.
Yeah, our contract with the union for the DPW allows temporary hiring of up to a certain period of time length, as long as the hourly rate is below the lowest hourly rate of the contract.
The union contract.
Correct. So the lowest paid worker, it has to be maybe at that or below it, but certainly not above it. So, I mean, I think we just table this till the spring. There's no emergency. What do you guys think? Make sense?
Easy to table it. I don't know how, I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, we should get over there.
We should-
Jeff should get a chance to look at it, I
Take a
think.
look how much it is, how long it is.
How severe it is.
Right. Well, it's not an emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Okay.
sounds like, from what I saw, that.
It's aesthetic right now.
Needs to
It's
be
preventative.
pointed up.
Yeah, it needs to be pointed up. And, we can do it for less money in-house. That's just a fact. And
Yeah.
otherwise, we'd have to go out to bid, there's a lot involved. All right, thank you. Now, next on the new business is re-levying unpaid taxes. You all were distributed a list. I did not publish it because I didn't want to put the names out there, but we have one without the names. Let me wait for Elizabeth to get back because she was running the show here. And Jeff, if you want to leave, feel free to leave wherever you want. Have a great night. Thank you for everything, Jeff. Okay.
50% of the owners are the same person, right?
I don't know. So, what would you require? A resolution for this?
Yes, I have one here. That's what I ran away for.
Okay, why don't
So-
you then read it and I'll ask for the second and I'll take.
Perfect.
the vote.
Okay, resolved that the village clerk be authorized to send the County of Orange Commissioner of Finance the attached parcel list of unpaid 2022-2023 village taxes and penalties totaling $63,706.52 for levy onto the January 2023 town and county tax bill of each parcel, and that the parcel list has been compared to the original tax warrant / tax roll and found to be correct.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
So the town does this?
74,000?
No, $63,706.52.
That's pre-interest,
That's correct.
right, and pre-penalty.
That's correct.
You had a question?
Yeah, if you mentioned the town re-levies it, or we?
No, we relevy it onto the town and county tax.
This gets levied to the county, and then in January, when the town issues the town tax bill along with the county tax bill, this shows up on that bill in January with added penalties, I believe. And then usually by April-ish, we get reimbursed from the county, and the county holds the lien or the debt.
Right, so the county takes on the responsibility of chasing it.
Yeah, so we don't have to get involved with that.
Mhm.
I believe usually by April, we're made whole with a fairly substantial penalty. I don't know if it was 9% or 7% in the past. Yeah, 9%.
Okay.
Yeah, the penalty is $4,800 here.
And any other questions? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Josh. Thank you.
So,
Okay, and finally, Josh, we have information on the website, New Business Climate Smart Task Force. It includes your summary that you sent to us in email, as well as documents to sign, as well as the Excel spreadsheet of the towns that are being serviced currently from this company, Jewel. So what would you recommend that we do regarding any agreements or resolutions?
I think my recommendation would be to select Jewel as the village's CCA administrator, subject to negotiated agreement that's satisfactory to, I don't know if it's all of the trustees or, it's Brian, but something along those lines where we go ahead and move forward with them, subject to, a satisfactory agreement being negotiated.
And there's no obligation you had mentioned in your presentation.
Yeah, I think the really important point is what we're obligated to do, what this agreement would obligate us to do. Well, first of all, it places obligations on Jewel to help roll out marketing of the plan, deal with all the regulatory and state entities that we would have to deal with, help us negotiate ultimately with an energy provider, collect bids, et cetera. There's a number of items that are laid out in the agreement that are their obligations. Our only obligation is that we commit to ensuring that they are paid in the event that we ultimately move forward with a CCA program. But if we never move forward with a CCA program, and we're under no obligation to ever move forward with a CCA obligation or program, if we never do, we have no monetary obligation to them. So I think it's actually a pretty straightforward decision. I think there's benefits to catching up with the town. We're only slightly behind the town. I think there are benefits to moving in parallel with the town. As I mentioned in my document, the town did go through an RFP process. And there are clear benefits to us working with the same administrator that the town is working with. And I think the last point I would make, and it's in that Excel spreadsheet that was also attached to my memo. If you look at, I think it's about 54 municipalities that Juul's working with, the majority of those contracts to Juul were awarded without an RFP. So it's not like we're doing anything special here.
All right, so, all right, thank you. So, Brian, I think what we're saying here is that rather than doing an RFP or going out to bid, we're taking the cue of what the town did. They went for an RFP. We've reviewed all of them. Our committee did. And they're recommending that we go ahead with Juul. Now, is that something that would be acceptable?
Yeah, we've worked with Juul in another municipality. We've already dealt with this agreement. We've made changes to that agreement that Juul has accepted already. So we can always provide that to the board as a starting point in case you have comments. You don't have to go out to an RFP. In this case, it's similar to a professional service. It's not like you're purchasing something from them. So that's fine. If you choose to go with them, you know, move to authorize you to execute an agreement in a final form approved by.
So we have that agreement. So what I'd like to do is have you, I'd like to pass a resolution that will sign the agreement pending acceptable changes or review by your firm.
Yeah, I would say in a final form approved by village council, and then we can always send it out to the board in the meantime with our changes.
So, all right.
They've accepted our changes. It's a standard agreement, so.
That's good enough.
I know they'll accept the ones I'm going to make. If you have additional ones, that'll be.
All right, so do any of the trustees have questions about where we're headed with this?
Yeah, quick question.
Yeah.
Josh, I thought Glenn said they receive a fee from the power company. And I think you just mentioned something that we have to guarantee that they get paid if we.
So they get paid by the, Brian can probably explain this better, but the way it's going to work is embedded in the bid from the electricity provider will be Juul's cost. So, yeah.
There's no cost to the village taxpayer.
Well, I mean, indirectly there is, right? Because that bid
Not on their
will
taxes, but on their utility bill.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
No effect on the village budget per se.
No effect on the village budget. Correct. No effect on the village budget. We as a village entity will never write a check to Juul.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Why don't you, if you don't mind, read a resolution into the record, and I'll ask for a second and take the roll.
Sure. So the resolution would be to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with Juul Assets as the CCA administrator for the village in a final form to be approved by village legal counsel.
You have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into executive session to discuss legal matters and payment of an employee or employees. It is exactly
7:48 p.m.
7:48 p.m. This is a closed meeting, and we'll be coming back into public session. If anyone that's on the call now would like to wait, look forward to having you to coming back and into the public meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Let's shut it down.
John, please don't forget to add me back in.
Brian?
Yeah, we just.
Chief, you want to say
I
the
made
first
him
part?
I made him a co-host.
Yeah, I just won't put him into the room. That's all. So he'll stay here. Let me.
All right, so take us out. Thank you.